sure did yesterday, or last night, I should say. Cubs beat the Padres 3-1, and Jen Jensen is walking into the building with a little more joy today.
A little swagger this morning.
A little more swagger. And a little more relief.
Oh, my gosh, right?
I think that ninth inning did take a year off her life.
Oh, I guarantee you. Oh, it's terrible.
At the minimum. So playoff baseball will do.
No kidding. I mean, but that's what makes it fun.
So it makes it incredibly exciting. And it's a lot easier when your team's not in it. I can just watch now I can just watch as a
Now you
observer.
can enjoy it.
That's right. Yeah. Now I can not stress about it.
Yeah, I kind of was hoping that you'd be in this too.
Yeah. It was fun while it lasted.
You got there.
It's here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah. It was fun. You know what though? You made it. After that long season, you made it into the playoffs. That's the fun part, especially for a team of that status.
That's never there.
Right.
That never goes. It's like getting invited to a really cool party of socialites. And it's like, you know what? I don't belong here. I want to be here for like 20 minutes till someone notices I'm not supposed to be here, and then they kick me out. But I can say I was there.
Yeah, what is he doing here?
Yeah, who let this guy? Get him out of here. Is he wearing flip-flops? Get him out of here. And that's usually, that's how that would go for me. But it's the early game. It's Friday. Not a full football Friday because South Carolina's not playing. But a fun weekend of football and playoff baseball. Whoa. Basketball's coming up soon, though.
It's true.
And we will be talking basketball.
We'll talk a little basketball
Later this hour because it was the media day yesterday, and Lamont Paris spoke on Carolina Calls, so we'll hear from what he had to say. But there's a lot on tap this weekend, and we're here to get you ready on the early game.
Yeah, and just as you were talking about, it's kind of fun when your team's not involved. That's how I feel about this weekend of football. No stress this weekend. I'm just going to lay around, watch some ball, see who wins, see who loses. I don't have to worry about my team playing, so I have no dogs in the fight this weekend. So I will definitely just casually enjoy football this weekend.
It's a good hate-watching weekend, too.
Well, that's that also. Starting at 12 o'clock Saturday, I will be locked in.
Like we said yesterday at the end of the show, it is the Anxiety Bowl to end all anxiety bowls between Clemson and North Carolina.
I will be locked in. That'll be tons of fun, regardless of how it goes down.
See, that's the best part of that game. Doesn't matter who wins or loses. We all win.
Exactly.
Because of the drama that unfolds there. Don't know if you could have drawn that up any better at the beginning of the season. And if you're a Carolina fan, you get a good look at other teams that you're going to end up playing right down the road. Alabama gets to come here to Willie B. They have arguably the game of the weekend.
Yes.
Which it wouldn't have been if Florida State would have taken care of business in Charlottesville. We would have had undefeated Florida State and undefeated Miami.
Now, when you say Alabama's playing the game of the weekend, obviously they're playing like Tennessee or Ole Miss or maybe old school Florida.
They're playing a team from Tennessee. They're playing Vanderbilt.
When has that sentence ever been uttered?
Never. I before last year, there was that one time, I want to say that was 2017, I think, when Vanderbilt won their first 3 games of the year. Really didn't play anybody. And they're 3-0. And they had that one dork defensive lineman.
Was that the We Want Bama?
Yeah, it's the We Want Bama guy. And Alabama came to Vanderbilt. And CBS came to Nashville for that game, mind you. And it turned out Vanderbilt did not want any part of Alabama. And that was a 59-0 game going into the fourth quarter.
In fact, they did not want Bama.
Tua played the entire fourth quarter. Tua was the backup. Jalen Hurts was the starter.
Yeah. Little talent.
That's how that went. Mm-hmm. That's how that game ended up going. And that's how normally a Vanderbilt-Alabama game would go. And then last year, Alabama beats Georgia at home, and what we thought was going to be the game of the year, which in terms of excitement and just wild and wackiness, it probably was. But they turn around and go to Vanderbilt and get beat. Got beat.
Yeah, and a classic case of letting it happen.
Yeah.
Because you're watching that game last year, and you're like, are they? Is this about to? Are they gonna let? Oh, fourth down. They went for the play action, and they completed. Oh, that was gonna let this happen.
I think at that when I went back and watched that game, because that was the same day as the Carolina Ole Miss game last year. So I'm sitting in the press conference room.
A very sad day.
Yeah. So sitting in a somber press conference room with my laptop up, watching the end of that game, and I'm just like waiting for Shane to come in, but I am locked in because Vanderbilt needs a first down to put it on ice. And when they do, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to happen. Like this is going to happen. And it was the wildest upset of the season. And it was high drama, incredible football game, incredible story. Well, now Diego Pavia comes back, and he keeps talking. He's doing the Diego Pavia thing. He's on a revenge tour. Now he's got to prove that he could do it at Alabama. That one is juicy.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be on that one.
And of course, Clemson versus North Carolina, or at North Carolina, and Texas A&M also on your schedule. Pesky. I should say frisky Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State is good. I don't think they're great. They're frisky, though. I did not have the guts to pull the trigger on that in the Underdog Challenge, but I thought about it.
Even after the way they played last week, or because of the way they played last week?
Hard to bounce back from a loss like that. Where I think they should have won that game. I think they had Tennessee right where they wanted them, and Tennessee kind of pulled that out of the clutches of defeat. But I think they might give them a game. I don't know. Kyle Field's a hard place to win, man. It's a hard place to win. But that one's going to be a whole lot of fun. And also, side note, just because it's on the TV right now, Rams 49ers. I did not watch any of that because I was watching playoff baseball.
Same.
But I do know this. Game decided by special teams. Because guess who blocked an extra point, which ended up being a pretty big deal, and then missing a field goal at the end of the game. The Rams had an extra point blocked and a field goal missed at the end of the game to really do them in.
Wow. Yeah, I'm kind of looking.
And Kyron Williams fumbles at the goal line.
I'm looking at a little bit of this now. Yeah.
The year of the special teams. It's still happening.
Mac is back.
He played well. 3 for 200 plus. I don't think he threw an interception, turned the ball over.
Yeah, you know what the funny thing about Mac Jones was? I was never on. I never thought that he was. I don't think he should have been drafted as high as he was. But I was cool with him as a professional quarterback. And come to find out, he got drafted into a trash organization, the Patriots, and he's had to sort of resurrect his career based on where he started. Didn't make any better that he went down to Jacksonville. That wasn't going great.
Especially when you're not starting in Jacksonville.
So this has been maybe his first chance to be in a competent spot. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a good spot right now where he's, again, it's a low-pressure situation as the backup. If they would have lost last night, it wouldn't have been, like, he wouldn't have really blamed for that one, right? Because you're not the starter. And they were down so many different players. Like Ricky Pearsall didn't play. Jawan Jennings didn't play. They had a lot of offensive weapons that didn't get to play. And they were 8.5-point underdogs on the road, which, of course, I mean, you're in Los Angeles. I know Los Angeles, San Francisco is still decent distance away, but that's a 49ers home game.
Yes.
Every time those teams play, that's a 49ers home game. But they still went and won that game with a lot of backups, 8.5-point underdogs. Like, that's a gut check win for Mac Jones. My biggest problem with him coming in was always, like, I knew he was good at hitting the open man downfield. Never threw anybody open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't have to.
Didn't have to.
His dudes were open.
Because his wide receivers consisted of, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, the Heisman winner, Henry Ruggs. First-round NFL draft talent, right? Didn't have to throw anybody open. Which is why, his ceiling as a starter, limited. But as a backup with Kyle Shanahan calling plays, who's still one of the best play callers in the NFL, best offensive minds in the NFL, yeah. I think that suits him well. I think he's at the right spot for him. But I don't think anybody should give him money to be the starter.
Fair.
Don't think that's going to really work for them.
Slow down.
Yeah. But somebody's going to watch this and be like, oh, this is like the Sam Darnold thing all over again. This is Geno Smith all over again. I would pump the brakes there. But an impressive win for the 49ers. That gives them the lead in that division early on in the season. And that's one, I think they had 3-1 teams coming into last night between those two teams and the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. So that was a pretty interesting development going on last night. But coming up next, I wanted to do a blind resume exercise with one Preston Thorne because we talk a lot about SEC quarterbacks, and there's narratives that have evolved. Now that we are, 5 weeks into the season?
Yep.
Narratives have evolved. But when you take the names off of these resumes, does it change your mind about who might be the best quarterback in this division? Now, we did put Lenore Sellers on here, but we wanted to give you a framework of other quarterbacks. So we're going to do a blind resume quarterback exercise with Preston Thorne coming up next here in the first hour of the early game.
No accidents to report at this time and don't have any significant slowdowns for the start of your Friday morning. So wonderful news and a great way to get the day started. We're looking for a high today of 78, 81 tomorrow, 82 on Sunday, maybe an afternoon or evening shower on Sunday. But right now, starting off the morning a little bit cooler, 59 currently on 107.5 The Game.
It's time to take some narratives and put them to a numbers test. Because I have prepared for Preston Thorne a blind resume SEC quarterback exercise.
Okay.
Now, it's pretty simple. I will just give the resume of two different quarterbacks. There'll be a quarterback A and a quarterback B. And Preston, you just tell me which one you'd rather have start for your team.
All right.
Quarterback A, for this first one, has thrown for 1,398 passing yards. That's a lot through 5 games. 441 rushing yards. An adjusted completion percentage, which is just accounting for drops, 72%. 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. A big-time throw percentage of 4.2. Yeah. The percentage of throws that you have that are considered big-time throws by Pro Football Focus, but a 4.8 turnover-worthy pass percentage, 12.5% pressure to sack number, and a 9.9 ADOT, or average depth of target. That is quarterback A. Quarterback B, 1,076 yards, so over 300 fewer, 119 rushing yards, 68.4% adjusted completion, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 4.7% big-time throw percentage, 3.3 turnover-worthy percentage, 9.5 pressure to sack percentage, and a 9.9 ADOT. So the exact same.
Same ADOT.
Would you rather have quarterback A or quarterback B?
Looking at the numbers, they're very similar. I don't like giving the ball away. Even if you get me more touchdowns, I'd rather have quarterback B.
Quarterback B is Texas A&M's Marcel Reed.
Okay.
Quarterback A is Arkansas's Taylon Green.
Okay. All right. The numbers for quarterback A were tempting. And it wouldn't, if I looked at those numbers for quarterback A, it would not say that, hey, your coach just got fired or hired.
It would not.
Right?
It would not.
That would not. There would not be this. So maybe there was something to Bobby Petrino going there and getting rid of the DC and everybody else, because those numbers are,
they're good.
They're solid. Yeah, they're very solid compared to when we talk about Marcel Reed and talk about how great of a season he's having. He's driving the train. Texas A&M is here because of him. Those are the same kind of numbers. The only thing that just threw me off a little bit was those extra picks that Taylor. But you do say Taylor has a little bit of YOLO in him.
He's got a lot of YOLO.
Okay.
Sometimes the decision making can be a head scratcher for Taylon Green a little bit, and I think the numbers matched when I went through and put this together yesterday. The numbers definitely matched what I expected to see. Now, here's a fun one. That was the warm-up, okay? Here is the fun one. Quarterback A, 1,211 passing yards, 294 rushing yards, 79.7 adjusted completion, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, an 8.1 big-time throw percentage.
That's high.
A 2.6 turnover-worthy pass percentage, 7.3 pressure to sack, 9.8 ADOT. Quarterback B, 1,209 passing yards.
Very close.
Just 2 fewer. 190 rushing yards, 100 fewer. 75.8% adjusted completion. 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 4.7% big time throw. 2.5% turnover worthy play. 8.5 pressure to sack, and 8.5 ADOT.
Give me quarterback A, just on the account of those touchdowns. With the interceptions being same, crossing each other out both with 3, I need those touchdowns.
Quarterback A is Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia.
Uh-huh.
Quarterback B is Oklahoma's John Mateer.
Ooh. Wow. Not as many touchdowns as I thought for John Mateer.
Nope. Does not account for anywhere near as many touchdowns.
Not as many
Half.
rushing yards as I thought for John Mateer.
Nope. Pavia's got him 100 plus in rushing yards, just 2 in passing. Pretty decent dip in adjusted completion percentage, and a big one in big time throw.
The big time throw percentage is almost double. Close. Very close to double. Yeah, so that's why the blind resumes are really interesting, because if you was to ask me who was playing better quarterbacking, I know Pavia's leading the team and being the field general, but I wouldn't have said that his numbers were demonstrably better than John Mateer's.
Well, because before the injury, people were talking about John Mateer like he was the Heisman front runner.
And like I said, he's wacky. They're both falling on the spectrum of wackiness. They're there.
They're definitely there. But when you take the names off and look at the resume, I did the same thing. I was like, yeah, I think I would definitely take Pavia over Mateer.
And what's very interesting, I guess that's how he's developed his game, is that though there is some expected wackiness that comes with Pavia's game, it's calculated.
Calculated wackiness.
Yeah, he doesn't do it in like the passing game. He doesn't have the best arm. He doesn't, so he's not going to take a lot of chances with the ball, throwing the ball. His is more in the option game or what he might do in those things. But as far as throwing the ball, he doesn't take a lot of chances, and he's very calculated when he does.
And even like we become so enamored with tools for a quarterback, right? That sometimes that kind of just gets put to the wayside, right? Decision making, being calculated, making the throws that are there. I think that speaks really to both Pavia and Tim Beck as the offensive coordinator. I think that those two in tandem kind of are what yield those results right there. This one's a lot of fun too. Quarterback A, 1,030 passing yards, 266 rushing yards, 77.2 adjusted completion, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 6.4% big time throw percentage, 0% turnover worthy play. So the 1 interception they deemed to not be his fault, maybe a deflection. 7.4% pressure to sack, 9.4 ADOT. That is quarterback A. Quarterback B, 1,157 passing yards.
Pretty close.
Negative 17 rushing yards.
No.
76.8% adjusted completion. 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 6.5% big time throw. 3% turnover worthy play. 18.4% pressure to sack, and only a 7.6 ADOT.
Yeah, I can't go with quarterback B. That minus 17 rushing yards is atrocious. So give me quarterback A.
Quarterback A is Ole Miss's Trinidad Chambliss. Quarterback B is LSU's Garrett Nussmeier.
Oh, no. Oh, well, oh, no, and oh, yes. Oh, no, Garrett, because that's not what we expected you from you this year. Oh, yes. Let's go play this dude. This dude on paper, not like that.
It's not lighting it up. That passing game is not what you would look at and be like, oh, they're putting up numbers.
So what are we so afraid of? That he's just going to rise up from the dead and come to life next week? Is that what the fear is? Because I think I'm trying to build this narrative that, hey, man, what are we going to be so nervous about going into next week? Yes, the stadium is tough to play in, but that quarterback with those numbers?
Gettable. They're gettable. I think that's the fun thing about this game.
We're going to call it gettable.
I like it.
We're calling it gettable. This game is a gettable, right? Not saying you should be favored to win or anything like that, but gettable. And also Trinidad Chambliss, Heisman talks I don't think are I don't think are premature. Those are pretty good numbers for a 3 full game sample size.
0% turnover worthy plays is really that's really impressive.
For a guy who had to come in for an injured quarterback, he's not losing that job. He won it. I'm afraid Austin Simmons has been Wally pipped.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what. And you look at also the narrative of this. Your boy makes quarterbacks. Lane makes quarterbacks, right? His system is designed for quarterbacks to have success. Brian Kelly, you had a quarterback, and you've made him worse. Whether it's injury or whatever, but he's gotten worse in your system.
That pressure to sack number for Garrett Nussmeier was sub 10 last year. It has more than doubled.
That could be something about the alleged abdominal injury or whatever that is. He's had another week to rest, but those numbers are not impressive at all.
At all. Out of all the numbers you will hear in this is the least impressive stat line that I was able to find. Last one, quarterback A, 1,465 passing yards, 58 rushing, 77.5 adjusted completion, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 3.5% big time throw, 0.6% turnover worthy play, 5.4% pressure to sack, and 9.7 ADOT. That's quarterback A. Quarterback B, 1,138 passing yards, 57 rushing yards, just a 1 rushing yard difference, 78% adjusted completion, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 4.5% big time throw, 1.3% turnover worthy play. With 0 interceptions, that means he got away with at least 1. 10% pressure to sack, but only 7.9 ADOT.
These are actually comparable.
They're very comparable.
I'm looking for a number that would make me change my mind. None of them actually do. I'll put them in the bag and I'll pick one.
Okay. Quarterback A is Tennessee's Joey Aguilar.
Okay.
Quarterback B is Alabama's Ty Simpson.
Yeah. Okay.
About the same.
Yeah, they are about the same. Okay, I haven't watched Ty. I've watched Joey maybe twice this year. Joey likes to put the ball in danger a little bit more than I think Ty does.
Which is why I thought that 0.6% turnover worthy play number was low. I had to double take it.
Yeah, it feels like I've seen him kind of throw the ball up.
He's a little risk taker.
And that might be a function of the offense, maybe giving the receivers a chance to make plays, and that's something that they want to do. But it feels like he takes a little bit more risk. But, yeah, okay.
I will say the turnover worthy play and the interceptions being that different makes sense considering the 2 interceptions that he had against Mississippi State, where one was his tight end let it doink off his helmet, the other one was off his hands. It was not a banner day for Miles Kitselman. It was pretty bad. So that was the blind quarterback resume exercise. But coming up next, basketball practice has started. What does Lamont Paris's crew look like coming into a very important season for the Gamecock program? We'll hear from him next. With a bye weekend here, maybe your Saturday's a little freer. May I suggest, can't speak this morning, but may I suggest spending some time over at Pro Swing, because I love playing at Pro Swing. But either location, Chapin or Forest Acres, I'm not much of a golfer because I'm not really good at it, but I like doing it. But what Pro Swing does is allow me to be able to play golf indoors, get to play on multiple different courses, and get to be able to see exactly how bad my swing is. But if you're a more avid golfer, even if you're not, it's a good way to spend a day, good way to be able to see what your swing is like, be able to try out those golf zone simulators, which is something that you just have to try to be able to experience. for yourself. And at Pro Swing, you get a free 30-minute swing evaluation. That way you can actually get that blueprint of your swing and a couple of pointers and drills to work on. Don't forget, there's also lesson packages available at Pro Swing as well, and club fittings and a tailor-made dealer. 803-592-3916 or ProSwingColumbia.com.
No accidents to report. It's easy for me to say when it's that exciting. But yeah, everything looking pretty good at this point on your Friday morning. Going to be sunny, 78 today, cloudy and 81 tomorrow, 82 for Sunday with some afternoon showers. Right now, 59 on 107.5 The Game.
Official practices have started, and the season is just a month away for the South Carolina Gamecocks men's basketball team, trying to bounce back from last year's disappointing season. Well, being one of only 2 teams in the conference that don't make the NCAA tournament, not a place you want to be. It's a really big year. And I say it all the time that while basketball is not what football is in terms of maybe popularity, that NCAA tournament at the end of the year is a moneymaker. And you leave a lot of money on the table if you're not participating.
Also, when we have this conversation around here, we know that Columbia is a basketball town. It's a basketball town. Basketball is really secret, not even quietly, but like very important around here. It's a great sports town. Obviously, that's why we're able to do what we're able to do, and you all are listening because we love sports around here. But Columbia is a basketball town for sure. Looking at the high school levels, there are some really, and the players that we've produced coming out of this place.
That's the big thing. When I moved here, that's when I realized, I was like, wow, like this place has produced a lot of really good basketball talent.
It is a basketball town for sure.
And it's a really big year for South Carolina, including having a team that is brand new, right? You have some returners. Michi Johnson comes back. Miles Studi cleared to play. He'll be back. Cam Scott comes back. Jordan Butler comes back. And that's about the list of guys who returned. A lot of freshmen, highlighted by Eli Ellis, who is a very popular player in his own right based on what he did in Overtime Elite. And then you have a lot of transfers. Mongolian Mike from Utah, well-traveled player. I think is going to be maybe the player that we end up talking about the most throughout the year because I think he's going to play a very massive role as a facilitator, as a 6'9" kind of combo guard on this team. Norton Kapich from San Diego, for those who predicted San Diego to upset Michigan in their bracket this year. He was the guy that hit a couple of really big threes in the second half to fuel that comeback.
Okay.
He's a fun player. I think that people are going to be really intrigued to watch. Elijah Strong from Boston College, who a lot of players yesterday told me plays like an old head. They confirmed it. Elijah didn't like that one a lot. But that was the consensus. But they say he's a really good, strong player. So a lot of new faces on this team. And building the roster was obviously priority number one as soon as the buzzer sounded in Nashville with their loss to Arkansas in the SEC tournament. This is Coach Paris last night, who was on Carolina Calls filling in for Shane Beamer. He was asked, this will be cut 4, about the process of building this year's roster.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I still do believe we have 5 freshmen this year, which is a big by most standards, but by this 2025 standard, that's a huge number. I love that class, by the way. They're tremendously gifted and incredibly hard workers. But as a guy that really still does believe in that, we committed to 5 freshmen that I believe have a tremendously bright future here. And so I think it's, for me personally, it's a good mix. I think you're setting yourself up for failure if you go into the portal and you have, let's say, 15 one-year guys. That's an extreme, but let's say you did that. You have 15 people that have 1 year of eligibility left, and when you have 1 year of eligibility left, your expectation is to play. And so if you have 15 people that expect to play 20-plus minutes, you got some unrealistic – I mean, you have your locker room's not where it needs to be most likely. So we have, young guys are – a little more realistic about what playing time may look like. Now, having said that, we got some guys that are really, as Derek mentioned already, I mean, they're really going to be fighting for minutes this year. I mean, a handful of them. And so I like to have some older guys. Experience reigns supreme right now. I think, if you look at all the Final Four teams, someone had a stat on how many freshmen were in the Sweet 16 even. Not that many was the official answer. So I think you have to have older guys, but I think for our practices, these young guys, they have a different energy with these young guys, and so it's good for them to come in and push some of these older guys and have them work.
And I think the young guys pushing the older guys was a theme that I got yesterday from talking to some players and some assistant coaches, was that there are some similarities to the team a couple of years ago. There's a chip on the shoulder. A lot of guys coming in that only are going to be here for 1 year, like Talon Cooper was, like BJ Mack was. And there's not going to be a ton of expectation, but there is a lot of motivation in that locker room because I think they all know that they're going to be picked last in the SEC this season. And with a group that is so new, that does have some talent on it, and that's interestingly built, I think that's going to make for an interesting season for this group once we get into non-conference play and they ramp up for an obviously brutal conference slate.
Of course, because the SEC has decided, hey, we want to play basketball too.
And they invested a lot of money,
a
whole lot of money
they
into
decided,
it.
we want to be in the basketball conversation also. I think this is really interesting for me because he talked about the idea of the players knowing their roles and figuring out what a locker room looks like and how different people are fighting for minutes and all that type of stuff. And with that team he talked about from 2 years ago, everybody had a very distinct role.
And bought in
to what their thing was on the team. And I'm not sure if they had that type of buy-in from the squad last year, and it showed on the court. And so that's all you can look for. Do guys know their role, and are they willing to go out there and execute it? And so we'll see how that goes this year.
Well, I was talking to Will Bailey, one of the assistant coaches, yesterday, and one thing he talked about extensively was like getting them to buy in early to a lot of defensive stuff early. They hit a lot of the defensive things early in the summer, right, to get everybody locked in and buy into what their role is going to be on the defensive side of the floor. Obviously, all Lamont Paris coach teams are going to be defensively oriented, but they needed to buy in. And he said this is that with this group, even with a lot of new players, there is a lot of buy-in to the style of play that they play, right? There are a lot of different styles of play in college basketball. It's the ultimate like styles make fights type of sport, a lot like college football is. But getting into buy into that and getting into a role was something that the team a couple of years ago did really well. And that's one thing that you need to see them do early is to be able to just buy into what it is they do that makes them or that gives them their identity.
Well, we was talking about John Mateer having a lot of YOLO in him. We know Michi has a lot of YOLO in him.
Yes.
Right? You know what?
There's some YOLO.
And the tape would indicate that Eli Ellis has a lot of YOLO in him also. So it could provide for some fun or frustrating moments as a fan to watch. But I'm more on the spectrum of it can be fun.
Yes,
it could be fun with some of the guys that they have in there. So we'll see what the team shakes out. I do believe that the team will go out there and compete. We know that even when they were terrible last year.
Yep,
record clearly showed that. There were still games towards the end of the season when there was no reason for them to be doing it, but they still went out there and competed. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, even in a year where you're 2-16 in conference play, you go in the conference tournament against Arkansas and you have that massive comeback and you get yourself in a position to win the game. That Lamont's teams compete, and that's one thing you can definitely say about them. And coming in this year, they're going to have to do that in bunches to be able to navigate that league schedule because as good as it was last year, it might have gotten better. It might have gotten better from a talent perspective, which says a lot considering how good it was just last season. But coming up next, I'll pose one simple question. Is Lenore Sellers a victim of his own success? We'll discuss what that means coming up next. posed a question before the break, and that is Lenora Sellers a victim of his own success? Because this year in college football, it's almost been like the year of quarterback narrative changing, right? Coming into the season, the guys who are considered the best quarterbacks in college football, Lenore Sellers part of that conversation. So was Garrett Nussmeier. So was Arch Manning. So was DJ Lagway. So was Cade Klubnik. So was Drew Aller. Yesterday, we went over the list of Bill Connolly's study of the best 68 quarterbacks, or ranking the 68 quarterbacks that are in the Power 4 conferences. Drew Aller and Cade Klubnik were sub 50 on that list.
Wild.
Insane. Garrett Nussmeier, you had to do a lot of scrolling to find Garrett Nussmeier on that list. DJ Lagway, I believe, was sub 60.
Sub 60. 61 to be exact.
The narrative has changed for a lot of these quarterbacks that were expected to be the best in college football and have been, and in some instances, like Arch Manning, bad. Some of them have been straight up bad.
41.
But Lenore Sellers of that group has definitely played the best. And there's been times where he's played good football. The last 2 weeks, even in a losing effort against Missouri, threw for over 300 yards and put some throws on tape that still show you why he is a first-round draft NFL talent. And last week, you saw the elusiveness again, breaking out of a sack, spinning out of it, right? And then picking up a lot of yards out of it. It's still really impressive. The last 2 weeks, you've seen vintage Lenore Sellers. And, of course, in the Vanderbilt game, he only plays not even 2 full quarters because of the injury. The reason I wanted to bring this up, because Bud Elliott from the Cover 3 podcast, CBS Sports, tweeted yesterday, Lenore Sellers is quietly playing really well right now. I know South Carolina doesn't have as much around him, he says, especially on defense, compared to last year, but dude is improving. If Lenore Sellers is improving, why is he still talked about as one of the best quarterbacks in college football? Is that solely because the team has lost 2 games? Or is he a victim of his own success from last year where he took the college football world by storm in the season's final 6 weeks?
It's because you're comparing it to last year. And as you were saying that, as we was looking at the topic, as the bumper music was playing in, it made me think of Wu-Tang Clan. 1993, 9 dudes out of Staten Island come from nowhere. They're talking kung fu. We've never seen anything like this before. This is crazy. What's going on here? Hit the scene. Everybody's enamored with this whole new group.
Nothing to mess with.
Correct. And then they go for their second album, Wu-Tang Forever. This time it's the double CD. It's going to be awesome. And it hit the scene and people were like, it's good.
It's not 36 Chambers, though.
It's not 36 Chambers, though. And I think it's because when 36 Chambers came out, it was groundbreaking, earth-shattering. Nobody had seen it. Nobody expected it. When the second album came out, and what's interesting, going a little deep nerd music here,
Ooh.
the producer, the main producer, the RZA, he said that he found out how to make music between the first and the second album, and you can kind of hear it. Like, it's more produced, better polished. It's actually technically better, but it doesn't hit the same. And I think that's what we're seeing with Lenoris. He's playing quarterback better. He's learning how to play quarterback. He's doing things the proper way now. Not quite hitting the same, though.
When it's more raw, it hits differently.
Correct. And I think that's the issue with him. And when you go back and listen to Wu-Tang Forever, the double CD, there's some cool
good
stuff on it. It's really good.
It's good, well produced.
But it's not the first one. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Lenoris. If you came here for Wu-Tang this morning, you're welcome.
That's right. You got it. You got your fill this morning. That's a good analogy because like what you had last year too was also so unexpected. Mm-hmm. Kind of the way 36 Chambers was with the Wu-Tang Clan. Unexpected, right? And then you have to follow that up. And it's so hard to follow that up. What you can do is still really good.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying that Lenore Sellers has played his best football, because I don't believe that. But at the same time, too, he's going to play a lot more football in his career, right? You will have some good years. You'll have some better years. You can have some great years. You can have some years where you are fine, right? Let's just take a quarterback in the NFL who's been around for a while. Matthew Stafford. Now, completely different play style than Lenore Sellers, but Matthew Stafford in his career has had some great years. He has a 5,000-yard passing season underneath his belt. He has a season where he led a team to a Super Bowl. He also had some seasons where he was banged up and just wasn't very good. There are a couple times in my life where I've thought in Matthew Stafford's career, he's washed, he's cooked. But I had to take him off the grill because he follows it up with a really good season. In sports, it just ebbs and flows. And in college, I think we amplify the bad seasons because you only have so few of them. But this is not even a bad season for Lenoris Sellers. And when you see some national talking heads maybe say it's a bad season for Lenoris, it's not. Because if it was any other player, I think you would look at what he's doing and saying he's playing pretty well. I think it's mostly just kind of being a victim of your previous success.
You could easily just point to what's happening down in Gainesville and say he's not that.
Yes, exactly. And that's not the case here in Columbia, South Carolina. Hour number 1's in the books. Hour number 2 starts with real or fake. That's next.
Still looking pretty good. No accidents to report out there this morning. Forecast looking pretty nice. A little more fall-like, mostly sunny, 78 today, clouds at 81 tomorrow. Might see an afternoon shower coming in on Sunday, 82 for the high. And the pattern of showers could continue into the first part of your work week. But we'll not worry about that right now. Just enjoy what we have. 59 currently on 107.5 The Game.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And we got a lot going on this hour. Because in the next segment, in the morning meeting, we have your MLB playoff primer now that we're in the divisional round. Give you a profile of a team that you can bandwagon for if, like a lot of us, especially if you're a Braves fan, your team is not in this.
Yes.
A cheering guide,
Yes.
if you will.
Yes.
And then you have heard of the phenomenon known as the Dust Bowl. We're going to tell you who is playing this weekend known as the Bust Bowl. And then pick or click at the end of the hour. But right now, I want to pretend like I'm giving Preston a couple of jewels that I found. And I want to know if they're real or fake. Preston's he's gonna put on I don't know what you'd call that, like a little microscope or whatever, and you're just gonna look at it and be like, nope, sorry, buddy, your chain fake. Your chain's fake.
Running underneath the water, see if it turns green or not.
We're gonna see which teams in college football in the SEC.
Who got the green chain on?
Who's got the green chain on?
You have a green mark around your neck. That is fake.
That is fake. Your chain is fake.
You know, if you paint a little clear nail polish on it, that'll protect it a little longer.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I'm going to mark that down.
Just a little helpful hint there.
Well, helpful hint. That way your chain is not obviously fake.
Obviously fake.
Because my biggest fear in life is to have someone do to me what Bronny James did to somebody, where he turns around because someone's talking trash and he goes, your chain fake.
Oh,
and I'm like,
man.
right below the belt.
Terrible.
Right below the belt. But which of these SEC teams, in terms of being legitimate college football playoff contenders, or even just contenders to win the Southeastern Conference, is real or fake? So, Preston, the first jewel that I'm pulling out of my pocket here, I'm presenting to you to look at, Ole Miss.
I don't want it to be, but it's real. It's real. I wholeheartedly believe believe Lane has the ability to blow one.
He's got that in him. He's got that dog in him somewhere. Losing what he's not supposed to lose is in him.
He has that somewhere, but maybe this is the year he's figured it out. Maybe this is the year that they've gotten everything together. Maybe this is the year when it actually happens. Lane is obviously a great coach. He's proven that he can take quarterbacks, implement them in the system, whether that's through evaluation or through the execution that's happening right now. You just have to be aware that he could blow one when he's not supposed to.
That's because that's his shtick.
Because that's what he does.
Last year was his most talented team at Ole Miss. I think last year's team at Ole Miss was more talented and more complete of a roster than this year's. But so far, through the first 4 or 5 games, they've been better than last year. And doing it with a backup quarterback, which is like the wild thing to me. And last year, with a team that talented, they lost that game at Florida. They lost the game at home against a 4-8 Kentucky team. And that's what kept you out of the playoff.
And for those who haven't been listening or you're just tuning in, a backup quarterback from where?
Ferris State.
Where is that?
That is in Michigan. I've got the mitten up here, which represents the state of Michigan. I could not tell you where on the mitten.
What level is that?
It is. That's Division II.
Okay, so they're doing it with a guy who was playing Division II football last year.
His last game before this season was in the 2024 Division II National Championship, where they beat D2 powerhouse Valdosta State.
Yeah, I hear you. Very familiar. There's a lot to be said for that. I think that's something we can table and come back to. But Lane does have the ability to blow. Let's see how that goes.
Now, the next jewel I'll present to you, Missouri. Interesting team because we don't have a great sample size against high-level competition. Their wins are against Central Arkansas, Kansas at home, South Carolina at home, and UMass at home. I don't think Marcus Camby was able to play for UMass in that game. No Dr. J either, if I believe. They have yet to play a game away from Columbia, Missouri. They have not had to leave campus in the first month of the season. But they have an identity with a really strong run game. Ahmad Hardy, I think, Sepp Theismann finalist for me. Bo Prabula looks solid. The defense looks good. But they haven't played anywhere near their biggest test yet. Is this a real or fake chain that I am presenting to you?
Fake chain. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you took that, when we played them, I'm trying to flush the numbers out of my mind. We had minus how many?
9.
Minus 9 rushing yards. How many penalties?
14.
14 penalties. And we were up by 2 in the fourth quarter, going to win the game. That's not cool. If you look at those numbers, that should have been a blowout for their team. So I'm not convinced that team is. I believe they got away with one when they beat us. So yeah, I think that's a fake.
That was my thing yesterday, and I think subliminally I said fake as a contender. I still think they're good.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Good
I'm not
team.
saying that I think they're a good team.
But when we're putting them in kind of this pantheon of maybe playing in the college football playoff or contending for an SEC title, that might not be there yet. Because when I went through my self-reflection, honest exercise of ranking the teams in the SEC, I still put them 10th because I think I need to see more. It's a soft non-conference schedule. And Kansas is fine in the Big 12, but they just got done getting beat by Cincinnati. They have a good quarterback. I don't know what else they have at Kansas that would lead me to believe that success against them is going to directly lead to success against some of your better SEC teams, especially when you have to play some of them on the road. So that's Missouri. The next jewel I present to you, Preston Thorne, the doors of Vanderbilt. Not Jim Morrison's doors, the Commodores of Vanderbilt.
I just like the Commodores, period.
Yeah, Lionel Richie's Commodores.
Mm-hmm.
More so than Vanderbilt.
Or so.
So in this scenario, Diego Pavia would be Lionel Richie, right? He's the one that's going to go solo and break out from the crew, right? I guess we'll find out this weekend.
I guess we're real. I guess this weekend is the big test, right? I mean, I was very impressed.
Is there a path where they lose this game and you believe in them still?
Yes.
What does that have to look like?
One score loss where you still run the ball really well. Because we'll get into this matchup in more detail, but I think I think there's actually a blueprint for Vanderbilt to win this game. And that is just by absolutely duping the hell out of Kane Womack in that Alabama defense, which we have seen this year in 2025. We have seen it happen.
I'm gonna go with real. I'm gonna go with real because I do believe there are certain times where this is kind of woo-woo, I guess, but I do believe there could be some synergy working there. Like, it just could be, I'm not saying this is sustained success forever,
right?
But just for this one moment in time, maybe something special is happening in Vandy.
That just for the year of our Lord 2025, things fall into place, and for me, the first time they become America's most popular Commodore, not Lionel Richie. It's a good chance. Good chance. I think the running game's good. The misdirection stuff is really good. That advanced triple option, I think it gives a lot of people a lot of trouble, and they actually have some dudes. Like, for instance, you have a dude that is potentially a first-round pick at tight end with Eli Stowers that helps you separate a little bit. That was Vanderbilt. Now I present to you, Preston Thorne, Texas A&M.
I have incomplete data set on Texas A&M. I've yet to watch I've seen highlights, but I've yet to actually sit down and watch Texas A&M. But I do tell you what they do have, going back to my other metrics. Do have a coach I believe in, and do have a quarterback that I picked them in the blind resume test. I like those two things. So I'm more apt to say that they're real.
It's one of those things, have you ever watched a movie and you're like, oh, my friend's going to really love this. And you tell the friend about that. And then it's like, I want to watch this movie with you because I know you're going to love it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to sit with you for the first time when you watch Texas A&M.
That's how you, okay.
Because
I got you.
I know you're going to love watching them play.
I got it. That makes sense.
And here's the wild thing about Texas A&M.
Elko's my kind of dude.
Yeah. Oh, the way they play in the trenches is real.
Mm-hmm.
That team is nasty on both lines of scrimmage. They did not play their best game against Auburn at all. That was my rewatch game yesterday. Because usually when I leave here, I have a rewatch game. I'll just go on YouTube TV and I'll watch an entire game because I don't get to watch all of it, on the Saturday. So I go through it and watch it. Yesterday it was Texas A&M and Auburn. And A&M did not look their best on offense. That was not a Marcel Reed banner game right there. He missed a lot of throws down the field. Wasn't his best performance. And they committed, 12 penalties in that game?
Mm-hmm.
Shot themselves in the foot a lot. They missed 2 field goals in that game. Had a touchdown called back because of a man downfield, or an eligible man downfield penalty. Really, they should have beaten Auburn. The way they outgained them and held them defensively, should have beaten them by 3 scores. It was a 16-10 game. Spiritually, it was not a 16-10 game. after watching that, I said, clearly A&M is in another class than Auburn right now. Now, here's the thing with A&M. The same thing with Lane Kiffin. A propensity to blow it late in the year. They got that dog in them. You can put a new coach in a College Station, but you can't take the College Station away from the coach.
Yeah, got you. Has Elko walked in and saged the place, though? Did he walk in with his sage and got all the Jimbo-ness, all the Kevin Sumlin-ness, get it all out of here? Has he made the place anew?
It certainly feels like they are tougher than any Jimbo Fisher team. Tougher and more physical than any Jimbo Fisher or Kevin Sumlin team. For sure. Equally as talented, but they are actually applying that talent in a lot better way. Will Lee is a shutdown corner. Des Ricks is having a really good year on the other side. Like, they played a team in Auburn that had maybe the best 1-2 combination of wide receivers in the SEC with Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton. And they locked him down. And they made Jackson Arnold's life a living hell. And Jackson Arnold has made his own life a living hell sometimes, because sometimes he is in the pocket. It's like, kid, get rid of the ball. And he is taking a beating this year. But A&M made sure that kid did not enjoy life and football on Saturday. I'm really impressed with A&M. And I think out of all the teams that we mentioned here, I think maybe the one that, just by watching them, taking away my prior notions coming into the season, that I've probably believed the most in, just from a football perspective. Now I bring in my priors and my history of what I understand the program is. That's where my hesitancy actually might come from. Last one, Oklahoma.
Contingent. It's all contingent on how John Mateer comes back from this hand surgery, and when he comes back, and hopefully he comes back after he plays us. But we want him to come back and be fully healthy. And if that means he has to sit out another week, well, it's better for the sport.
Yes. If John Mateer we can ensure he plays as much football in a healthy manner.
That's right.
We don't want to rush him.
We do not want to rush him back.
That's surgery.
We want him to take as much time as he needs, and if that includes missing our game, well, hey, that's just what it includes. I think that's all contingent upon on that, obviously. I do like the idea. I think it's an interesting combination, very similar to what Vandy has going on, where you have a traditionally defensive-minded, conservative-type coach who falls in love with a wacky quarterback, and they have this interesting offense that comes into play, and he has to he doesn't love it, but it's working for him, and he, like I told you, he found a way to love again, and he's doing all these
it's
weird
a Hallmark
things.
movie.
It really is an interesting combination, but I would say for these purposes, I say it's fake, because I don't like somebody coming off an injury.
Yeah, and that can derail a season, and I don't know how to judge the Michigan win just yet. I think Michigan is good. It's not obviously not Michigan from 2 years ago, and I think they're better than last year. Where the middle is with Michigan, I'm not exactly sure, but they won the game. They played Auburn a lot closer than they probably should have. They had chances to bury Auburn and never really took advantage of it, and kind of needed the assistance of a referee snafu on essentially a trick play to be able to win that game. It's really tough. That one, I think, might be the toughest one. You might have to look in that little microscope for a little bit longer for Oklahoma than maybe the other teams on here.
Jen, do you remember the 90s sitcom Dharma and Greg?
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
That's what this is. This Dharma and Greg.
Flaky Dharma, and then you get down the line, nerdy attorney Greg.
Exactly. That's what this is. Dharma and Greg.
I guess my homework assignment now is to watch Dharma and Greg.
Jenna Elfman was Dharma.
Solid sitcom.
Yeah,
okay.
It was good.
And I had to go into it watching it saying, this is Oklahoma football.
And that's actually a really, the more I think about it, it's like that's a really solid analogy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it.
Yep, your assignment.
Yep.
All right, my assignment.
You know what? We could use Studio 803.
We could.
And sit out there and watch it.
Because we do have a TV out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's playing Sports Center right now. But coming up next, we have a meeting to have, because in the early game morning meeting, we're going to get you ready to pick a team to cheer for in the playoffs. That's next. I don't need a team to pick to cheer for when it comes to roofing and waterproofing because that team is easy. That team is Midstate Roofing. And for many reasons, right? Versatility, one of those things. Doesn't matter if it's high-rise, hospitals, or the job is manufacturing to industrial. What Midstate Roofing does is design and install bonded systems with that protective guarantee when it comes to picking a group to help me with my roof. I want protective guarantees, right? The roof is supposed to be the protective guarantee of my building. That's the thing that needs to be ensured, that everything else is safe. Midstate Roofing provides that, and they provide further protection, right, with a maintenance contract that they provide. Again, give them a call today, 803-356-1919. You can always hit them up, too, online at midstateroofing.com. Again, 803-356-1919. And remember, if you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Not any accidents reported. No significant slowdowns. A little bit of a slowdown there on I-26 eastbound as you approach I-20. But aside from that, really everything looking pretty nice. Hope your Friday is continuing to be good. 78 and sunny today. 81 tomorrow with mostly cloudy conditions, and 82 for your Sunday. We're going to stay in the low 80s heading into the start of the work week, and we'll have some scattered showers starting on Sunday afternoon. 59 currently on 107.5 The Game.
Just like yesterday, we're introducing a new subject. It's baseball. But with baseball now being in the playoffs, you might have missed a lot throughout the course of a 162-game regular season. So,
one in which the Braves bowed out pretty early. So if you're a Braves fan, this might be for you.
Yeah, this might be for you. And this is also for me to determine who I want to cheer for in the playoffs. My Cincinnati Reds got bounced in only 2 games to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I'll tell you who I won't be pulling for. But if you are looking for a team to bandwagon in one of the most fun sporting events on the calendar, part of the Sports Equinox, which will happen here very soon, this meeting is for you.
Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day. Let's go. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome
Yes, it will.
day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
It's always an awesome day to talk about playoff baseball. It's October. I watched Yankees Red Sox last night, and we lit a fall candle in the house. It was amazing. It felt so good. I got to wear a sweatshirt inside. I was cozy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Beautiful aesthetic. But if you're looking for a team to cheer for, we'll go through some different traits that these teams have, and we'll present to you the teams that fit those traits. Not as in-depth as finding Preston's favorite NFL team, but we have some things that might be interesting to find either your baseball-loving heart or your narrative-loving heart. Preston Thorne, should we start with villains?
Always want to start with villains.
If you're one of those that finds yourself rewatching Star Wars and pulling for Darth Vader, these teams are for you.
Correct.
Of course, the New York Yankees.
Obviously.
Villain number 1.
Yes. You can easily get aboard the hate train for the Yankees. That's an easy, obvious answer.
Yes.
Also, the reason why some people might get involved with them. You watched the game last night. Looked like they had so much fun. Yankee Stadium was rocking last night.
It's an incredible environment.
Traditionalist. Are you a traditionalist? Do you love just the pinstripes? All of that stuff. If that's something for you, this might be a squad.
Yeah. Squad that's won 27 World Series titles.
27 rings, brah.
That's a lot. You don't have 27 fingers, right? If you're around for all of them, which I guess I know a lot of them were before the Second World War II, but a lot came in the 90s that haven't won one since 2008. So there is an element, or 2009, I believe it was. There is an element of haven't done it in a while. Can you break the narrative of going this long? I think this might be their longest World Series drought since they won the first one. Very well could be. Putting the Dodgers on that list, too.
Yes.
Star-studded. Rob Lowe. There's nothing quite like watching your team get beaten. Rob Lowe in his motionless face staring into a camera and cheering. Those cheek muscles haven't moved in at least 6 years.
Yeah, they're pretty well preserved. I do like him. I think he's pretty funny at times.
He's funny.
Yeah.
But woof.
Yeah. He's sculpted.
Yes. Yes.
Sculpted or embalmed, whichever way you want to look at it. It's one of the two.
It might be a little of both at this point.
It might be a little of both. The Dodgers also. If you're one of those that hates what everybody else loves, the Dodgers are the team to hate because everyone loves Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Best player in baseball.
This was my conundrum with the Dodgers. I typically don't like the team that outspins everybody, that just buys a championship. That's not typically my bag. So they're easily hateable for that reason. But then when you look at all the dudes, Shohei, fun, Mookie Betts, great guy by all accounts, Freddie Freeman, great guy, former Brave. They don't really have the villains that they need to be villains. Like they're expensive, but they're all kind of good dudes.
Too many likable dudes.
Yeah, that's an issue. So if you want to hate on them, you can. There's plenty of reason, but just know that they're kind of going to win you over by being likable.
I think the Dodgers and the Yankees are the two obvious ones. I put the Phillies in this too.
For different
Bryce
reasons.
Harper.
Bryce Harper, actual villain possibly.
Yes. Individual player villain.
Who I really like.
Oh, Preston's digging it.
I like Bryce Harper, man. He's rough. He's tumble. Showed up on my TikTok algorithm a lot, baking bread recently. I don't know what that was going on. I don't know if that was a weird deal going on.
Interesting.
I like Bryce. And again, I like the guy who was promised to be him and ends up actually being him.
Ends up fulfilling it.
That is cool to me.
And now, do you like streak breakers?
Yes.
You want to cheer for somebody who's just never done it? Because there is a team in these playoffs that have never done it. That would be the Mariners and the Brewers.
Fun teams. So you want to start? The Mariners?
Start with the Mariners. The Mariners are fun because of the big dumper.
They have a catcher named the Big Dumper who hit 60
Yes.
home runs this year. And I don't know when this happened in our sports-loving minds when 60 home runs was not a big thing. But that's amazing.
That's a huge deal. Hitting 60 home runs in a season is a huge deal. That is a record for catchers all time. Cal Raleigh's a whole lot of fun. And they have an incredible pitching staff. And absolutely loaded. So if you love pitching, two of the best ERAs in all of baseball, Mariners and Brewers.
Also, and as we talked about in the break, just a fun franchise. You know, Griffey, Ichiro, Randy Johnson. It's kind of like fun dudes that I don't think anybody actually dislikes the Mariners.
Cool uniforms.
Cool unis.
A beautiful ballpark. Like, there's a lot to like about the Mariners. And you talk about vibes. For vibes, I wrote down Mariners and Cubs. The vibes with the Chicago Cubs, immaculate. Fly the W.
Fly the W.
Go Cubs, go.
Win the games. Wrigley. It's fun.
It's just fun.
They've gotten over
They're
the
a
hump.
fun
Obviously,
team.
they got over the long drought, but now we're kind of need to get another one.
No, yeah, it's time. And, we've gone through some managers and, so I feel like maybe we're a little better on track on that. And it seems like this year, like in the 2016, we have some fun personalities that people are really gravitating towards. You have Ian Happ, you've got Danby
Love Ian
Swanson, you've got Kyle Tucker. Like, there's just some that people just love these people. They're playing well, they're fun. So I'm getting vibes of 2016 again.
Pete Crow Armstrong, fun baseball player.
Yes.
And that's something about baseball teams. You kind of fall in love with a lot of the personalities. I
Yes.
think because you watch them every day, you kind of get you know the personalities. So fun personalities are always a great thing.
And I think it's fun that Rizzo is back and not playing,
He's
obviously,
in the
for the team,
stands.
but he's in the stands.
Yes.
And
He's around.
and he's around. So I just feel like, maybe he's going to infuse some fun.
Last one here. If you want to cheer for an underdog in terms of financial disparity, Major League Baseball, the only sport without a salary cap, so teams can just outspend everybody. For reference, on the 26-man active roster for the Dodgers, their payroll is $268.7 million. That is the highest of all the teams in this. The lowest, the Milwaukee Brewers at $86.9 million.
Wow.
So if you're looking for the financial underdog, that would be the Milwaukee Brewers. That would be the team for you. That is
triple.
Triple what the Brewers are paying, and the Brewers are the higher seed. Funny enough. That is our MLB playoff primer. Coming up next, you've heard of the historical event known as the Dust Bowl. We will present to you the Bust Bowl. I mentioned getting to watch playoff baseball in my house last night with a fall candle and the vibe really going, really leaning in to the autumn season. But I've got to be able to have my place ready to be able to have guests over. And that includes making sure my carpets are top-notch and clean, and that's where Zero Res is called out of the bullpen to come out and give me a hand with cleaning those carpets, right? No soap, no residue, just equals soft, fluffy carpets that stay clean longer and impress my guests. How they do this? Well, it's the zero water technology, which is non-toxic and safe for people, my pets. But as a cleaner, it breaks up that grease, neutralizes odors, most importantly, and helps remove those spots. And this month, if you mention my name, Elijah Campbell at 107.5 The Game, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119. Go ahead, schedule online today at ZeroResColumbia.com.
still have, for the most part, the all clear. Not an accident reported at this time. Welcoming that to stay that way pretty much all morning. And your forecast looks really nice. Sunny, 78, cloudy, and 81 tomorrow, 82 on Sunday, maybe an afternoon or evening shower. And then we might see some showers kind of continuing into the beginning of the work week as our temperatures remain in the low 80s. By the end of next week, we'll actually be maybe in the low 70s for a couple days. So, starting to get some touches of fall. Currently 59 on the early game.
So you've heard of the historical phenomenon known as the Dust Bowl. Originally referred to, this is from Wikipedia, referred to the geographical area affected by the dust, but today it usually refers to the event itself happened in the 30s. Well, in the 2020s, 2025 specifically, tomorrow we will have the Bust Bowl taking place in Gainesville, Florida. No, not the American Midwest. This will happen in Gainesville because two quarterbacks who were expected to be rising NFL draft players, potential faces of their franchises, expected to maybe even be Heisman contenders. One player who was the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman back during Media Day. That'd be Arch Manning and DJ Lagway with Florida and Texas. We have the Bust Bowl. Preston Thorne. Two teams, the teams themselves in different spots. Texas still in a good spot, your top 10, but it's October and you're playing your first conference game. Florida is desperate, and by Florida, I mean Billy Napier. There's a good chance that if things go awry tomorrow, Billy is the second SEC coach that is put on the grill.
He and Sam Pittman are, off having a little nice meeting at, at a coffee shop, just relaxing.
Venting,
yeah.
Very possible.
Thinking about their investments.
Yeah, planning for their future.
And this is when it gets into a tough spot in this game because if you talk to some Florida fans, it's almost split. Like, what do they want to happen in this game? Do they want to win this game? Obviously, yes. But if they lost this game, would that be a bad thing? I don't know.
That means ripping the Band-Aid off faster.
Is this the first hostile environment that Arch Manning has played in?
I think Columbus would count as a.
Oh yeah, okay. I forgot Columbus. I couldn't remember where that game was. So he did play in Columbus. Did not play well in Columbus.
We've seen what he has done in a hostile environment. Not good.
Who's this a bigger game for, Arch or DJ? As far as this season is concerned, not future. Who knows what the future holds? But as far as right now,
I'd say Arch. More pressure because of his last name. There is going to be more pressure. He's already gone through more pressure going into this than DJ Lagway has, which says a lot because DJ Lagway was the recruit that essentially got Billy Napier some grace because it wasn't going very good. Florida standards compared to the normal college football team.
He saved Billy Napier twice already.
He has.
One, by coming to the school, and then two, last year when he inserted him at the end of the year. This is twice.
Twice. And now DJ Lagway might be the reason he's out. Funny how that dichotomy can shift because DJ Lagway has not gotten a bit better from last year. And neither has Arch Manning. But I think for Arch personally, it is a bigger game to prove that he can go on the road and silence any doubt.
Also, there's the narrative of like the Mannings don't win in Gainesville, right?
That's a real thing. Yeah, his uncle Peyton was 0-3 as a starter against Florida. And the swamp was a house of horrors for him.
It was a different swamp.
It was a different swamp.
It was a different swamp at the time. We've never quite solved the mystery, or maybe we actually seen the answer to the questions from the spring. Not even the spring, in the summer when DJ Lagway was in a boot. Reported, allegedly. He was also not throwing balls in the summer because of shoulder issues that he was having. And everybody said it was nothing to see here. No problem. He's going to be fine.
They downplayed it. They tried to downplay it.
I think we're seeing the results of that, and I'm really curious to see how this game plays out.
And for Texas too, the pressure element for Arch and Texas is that you were the preseason number 1 team, picked by many to win the national championship. I thought this team had what it took to win the national championship because the roster is so good around Arch Manning. The roster is good around DJ Lagway. It is not as good as what Arch Manning has to work with, especially when you look at the defensive side of the ball. Florida's got some dudes on defense. They've really been banged up a lot on that side of the ball this year. Texas has remained a little healthier. If Texas goes in there and loses this game, major fraud alert, and that is damaging, almost completely damaging to their college football playoff hopes because it's going to be the easiest game or the hardest game that they play in SEC slate. They still have to host Vanderbilt. They still have to play Oklahoma. It'll be a John Mateerless Oklahoma team, but it's still the Red River rivalry. Something I still can't say 3 times fast.
It's tough.
Whole lot of R's there. But I think the onus on this game does fall in the lap of one Arch Manning to prove that, hey, he can put on your big boy pants and play big boy football because we have yet to see that in a game of this magnitude.
You know what the other aspect of this game that you talk about that we've discussed here is the idea that both of these teams have neighbors around them who are successful right now.
And playing
and
really
nothing
well.
makes a fan base crazier than looking across the street, looking down the road, and seeing your neighbors be successful. Fortunately, I guess maybe this has been comforting for both of us here in South Carolina. Like, we're both looking like, both of us? Yeah.
Yeah, you lost. Oh, we lost too.
Yeah.
We lost. Oh, well, yeah, you lost worse.
But when you're Florida and you see Miami jump, you see Florida State back.
Uh-huh.
You're starting to look around like, hold up. That's supposed to be us.
Especially considering you lost to Miami. I would say rather convincingly.
Twice in a row now.
And now you got to play Florida State at the end of the year. Who knows what your team looks like? Who knows who is coaching your team by the time you actually get to that game? Who knows? That's a really big mystery. For Texas A&M's looking really good.
Texas is supposed to be the crown jewel of coming into the SEC. We're the big bad Texas school here now. And everybody's like, maybe not.
Maybe not this year. Like they've still, that's the thing. That's the thing when you also don't play a conference game until October is you have that first game. That's why that Ohio State game for them in terms of a national perspective was so vitally important. The taste in the mouth of the American college football viewer of Texas is still sour because of how bad that offense was against Ohio State. Because then the schedule is, San Jose State, UTEP, whoever. And it's not
Sam
Houston, right?
Which the lasting image was Arch Manning flexing over a Sam Houston cornerback in the end zone.
Like,
all right, buddy.
Really punching down. Like, come on, dude. Like, prove it you can do it against somebody with a pulse. And this is their chance. This weekend is their chance. Florida doesn't have much of a pulse, but it is a conference opponent. It's on the road in a hostile environment. It's really important for both of these guys, but if Arch Manning wants to be able to at least have some proof of concept in himself that he can do it, he needs this one first. That's why I think it's maybe a little bigger for him and for Texas as a whole to continue to keep the hopes that they had of winning a title.
Because they have aspirations. They have
real ones, yeah.
All their goals are actually in front of them. Seriously.
Florida's, gone. Like that. It is now officially another lost season for Florida after they've already accumulated a few really bad losses. That Florida-Texas game, one game on the slate. We have a couple of other headliners. Which one is Preston Thorne the most interested in? We'll find that out next in Pick or Click. My friends at the Ecton Law Firm, the best of the best when it comes to giving you a little more peace of mind if you're experiencing some tax difficulties. Doesn't matter if it's business tax issues or income tax issues. At the Ecton Law Firm, what they do really well is understand the challenges that you or your business can face, right? And that's why John and his team are perfectly qualified to offer you that peace of mind that you know you deserve. And one thing I like about them, too, is that if you give them a call at 803-771-9800, you can set up a free consultation. And the consultation is important because not every tax issue is the same. They are not all created equally, and they all require game planning to be able to attack those issues at the source and be able to get your situation taken care of. Again, if you're looking to escape that pesky IRS maze, give the Ecton Law Firm a call, 803-771-9800, or visit ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTONlawfirm.com. While all slates of college football Saturdays are fun, this one might not have the same headliners we've had in the last few weeks. But as we have stated on this program before, that is where the funkiness can go down. So which funky matchups, potentially funky matchups, catch Preston Thorne's eye the most? Here's the premise. I give Preston Thorne a game, and then I present him with another game. If he picks game 2 and prefers to watch that one instead, this is under the assumption that Preston can only watch one football game this weekend.
And I am a one game at a time watcher.
He is a one game at a time watcher, which is a really good way to go. Because I'm sometimes a 2 game at a time watcher, and that forces me to have to go back. So I have learned over time.
I'm a flipper at best, but multi-screen, I don't work well with that.
Now, if he likes game 2 as opposed to the game 1 that I gave him, he will pick game 2. If he wants to click to the next option, because he likes game 1 better, he will click. Now, we'll start with game 1 being Clemson at North Carolina, the Anxiety Bowl to end all Anxiety Bowls. And I present to Preston Kentucky at Georgia.
No way. Click. I'm sorry, click. Yeah, click. You might not have should have started with this one because I'm going to be here for a while. Until this, and even if the score gets out of hand, I still might be here for a while.
You might be there for a while.
I might be here for a while.
Let's see if Clemson at North Carolina runs the gauntlet, because I now present to you Vanderbilt at Alabama.
Well, I spoke too soon. Not so fast, my friend.
Ah, Lee Corso, hit him with that. Hit him with it. Not so fast, my friend.
Pick. I want to see this. I want to see if the hype is real. Can they do it again? Are they going to let it happen? A lot of narratives playing here, which will be a lot of fun.
You have Vanderbilt at Alabama now. I present to you Texas at Florida. The Bust Bowl.
I'm going to pick.
Oh, he's switching it.
I'm going to pick because I like seeing misery and the possibility of either one of these, either the quarterback, Arch. Sorry, Arch. It's not about you. It's not personal, but I kind of want to see this happen. And also, Boring Billy may be on the frying, just incinerating on the sideline. As the score goes up, he just turns into dust.
Opening drive for Texas is like a one-play, 80-yard score, and he spontaneously combusts on the sidelines. Into flames on the spot. So Texas at Florida, the chosen game right now. I present to you Boise State at Notre Dame.
Click.
Still at Texas at Florida. Mississippi State at Texas A&M.
Because of my co-host and my friend has recommended this program to me, I'm going to pick.
Ooh.
And I'm going to take a gander at Texas A&M. I want to see what this is all about, and this is a great week because if they're playing in conflicting times, also we're playing them here coming up soon. So this may be an advanced scouting.
An advanced scouting game, yes. I'm telling you. It's one of those things, again, like if you watch something that you know a friend or family member would love, and it's like, hey, you to watch them, you're going to love watching them play. You almost want to sit there with them and just watch their face while they're watching it, right? Just to be like,
you watch them more than you watch the show.
Yeah, because you keep looking back. You keep looking back.
You type them. Here's the good part. Here's the good part.
Hey, watch this. Watch this. Watch this part. You're gonna like this. Oh, hey, Le'Veon Moss is about to run up the middle in between, the guard and the center. He's gonna pick up 8 yards. Watch this. That would be me sitting there with Preston Thorne, like, hey, watch. Marcel Reed's gonna throw the ball downfield. Watch this. Oh, hey, Torian York is gonna chase down this running back from the opposite hash mark. You're gonna love this. So Mississippi State at Texas A&M, the chosen game. And one more to present to you, Miami at Florida State.
Pick.
Oh, okay. I knew that one. That's an intriguing game, even with Florida State losing, so it doesn't have the same feel as it would.
I know we have a few legit Miami fans that listen, so if you want to text in, you can. But I am interested to see, because that's just still, for some reason, I'm not sold on Mario Cristobal. And I don't know why.
This is the type of game he loses. I feel like this is the type of game Mario Cristobal falls on his face. This Miami team's his best one, by far. Ruben Bain is the best player that he has had there, by far. They have passed every single test, and they've had a few tests. They've passed every single one. So this is a true road game. Great helmet game. great rivalry. Kind of a revamping of an old rivalry that used to have some banger episodes, if we're referring to it as a TV show, but the last few seasons have been kind of bleh of this show. Miami and Florida State, one to watch. Hour number 3 coming up next.
Looking for a countertop for your kitchen or bath, or maybe you're wanting to update your yard with some hardscaping. Well, I have the place. It's Carolina Stone Craftsman, just outside Columbia in Chapin. Understanding that kitchen and bath projects can be a significant investment, they do work to deliver the highest quality and most affordable granite, marble, and quartz, while definitely providing the best customer service. It's simple. Great countertops with no compromises. You need to visit to see what I mean, because you can explore the craftsmanship of each slab, experience the craftsmanship in their one-of-a-kind indoor showroom. And also, I encourage you to reach out and check out their custom hardscape creativity by exploring their outdoor showroom. You'll be impressed, I guarantee. They're family-owned and operated just beyond Columbia in Chapin and beyond your expectations. Reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. You can also check them out online, carolinastonecraftsman.com. Smooth travels for your Friday morning. We welcome that, and I do hope your commute is going well today. 78 and sunny is going to be what we're looking for weather-wise. Cloudy and 81 tomorrow. Afternoon showers are a possibility, not necessarily a washout. High of 82 on Sunday, and we'll see those scattered showers into the early part of next week. But right now, the sun is trying to peek out. It's more clouds than sun currently. 58 on 107.5 The Game.
Hour number 3 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And it is a football Friday. No South Carolina football this weekend, but the game of the weekend in the SEC, again, a sentence I never thought I would utter. Not in front of a microphone, not in front of a trusted friend, not in front of a stranger, is that Vanderbilt at Alabama is the most intriguing football game in a weekend for me.
Yeah, you would have. That's if you would have came from the future and said, they'd be like, yeah, I don't know, future's weird.
I'd be like, I don't
Strange
know.
place.
I was like, did Jay Cutler come back to school and kind of go back into NFL form? Like what's going on, right?
Yeah, but even when you say that, if you add up the circumstances that get us here, it's pretty. You have to build them up. Saban retires. Kalen DeBoer, Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia comes back. All of these things kind of add up to this moment here.
And it's a revenge game for Alabama. That is the wild thing, right? Is that it is a revenge game for them. And the more I think about it, because in the summer, right, when we had the little mini back and forth back when we were just starved for college football content, and Ryan Williams mentions, like we're going to take care of that game, and there's a lot of talk, between Vanderbilt and Alabama about this game in particular. I'm like, okay, well, that's cute. I mean, Vanderbilt's going to go there and probably going to get beat pretty bad because this is what Alabama does. You go to Bryant-Denny, and you're not usually coming out of there with a win. Right? Especially if you are Vanderbilt. Even though I knew what happened last year, old enough to remember that, I still, all summer, did not really have this game circled on my calendar as one that was going to be incredibly competitive.
Also a good point, because you say they go to Bryant-Denny, but make no mistake about it, Bryant-Denny is only a tough place to play because Alabama is really good.
Yes.
Not a loud stadium, not a traditionally raucous crowd, kind of a, I hate to throw the ultimate disrespect on them, but kind of a wine and cheese kind of crowd.
Ooh. Georgia's getting those allegations now, too, a little bit. Mostly by pricing out students.
I think you get spoiled.
You get spoiled.
You get used to winning. And so I don't know if the crowd is going to be able to rise to the moment of a Vanderbilt team who could potentially go on a 12-play, 10-minute drive. You know what I'm saying? Like that could be something that happens.
They could be lulled to sleep. But from a strictly football perspective, Preston Thorne, I've thought about it a lot in the last 24 to 48 hours. Because originally, when it came down to picking what our early game underdog challenge pick was going to be, when it came down to picking these games, right? I was like, I think Alabama covers 10.5. I felt pretty good about that all off season coming into it. And when the line was out, I'm like, 10.5 sounds about right. Alabama's probably going to cover that, especially, with how they've looked in the last 3 weeks. But the more I think about it, I think I'm talking myself into it. I think I'm talking myself into Vanderbilt doing the funniest thing possible, and that's doing the thing again. Beating Alabama a week after they beat Georgia. And here's why. Yes, Alabama, way more improved here as we sit on October 3rd, 2025, than they were on August 30th when they played Florida State and got beat and embarrassed. That improvement is what's made them an interesting story because they did not look very good after that first drive against Florida State. And I try to think about what type of things from that game are sustainable. What can Vanderbilt do as a blueprint? And is there things that Vanderbilt do that are similar to Florida State? Alabama's eye discipline in that Florida State game was atrocious. The effort alone was bad, right?
Yep.
When Dan Orlovsky's tweeting out that he's watching the tape and he counts 21 loaves.
21 loaves.
And we're not talking about bread. It's not good. The effort thing was shameful enough. I think the eye discipline was worse because what Gus Malzahn did to Alabama was dupe them for 4 quarters. And when you look at the game last year, Tim Beck did a whole lot of duping of Alabama's defense. They hit on some big plays because Alabama was not very disciplined with their eyes. You go into that game as Florida State. It wasn't like that. Like Florida State was just running the ball up the middle. There were sweep plays. There were RPOs. There was a lot of misdirection And that's the big word for me in this game, Preston. Misdirection. Florida State misdirectioned Alabama to death. Alabama had no idea where the ball was at times. And by the time they realized where it is, Florida State's got a 5-yard boost. And that helped them a lot. What does Vanderbilt do more than any team in college football? Misdirection, triple option, eye candy stuff.
We saw it.
If Alabama, we saw that here firsthand, right? And it gave South Carolina fits. Also gave them fits on the road. They can do it anywhere. If Alabama does not fix the defensive issues with line discipline, Tim Beck will run circles around Kane Womack, if that is the case.
So, as you were saying that, it made me think that maybe those weren't necessarily loafs, and maybe it was actually fatigue. Because when the first thing that, and that may not be something that they'll have at this point in the season, but the first thing that goes when you're tired is your discipline. Because now you're like, I just want to run to the ball. I don't care. I know I'm supposed to stay here and take an extra read or take a slow step, but I'm so tired, and your mental faculties start to go first. And that made me think of that. I don't know if they'll have that same tool to take advantage of that for Vanderbilt, but I do think Vanderbilt does what they do at as high a clip as any Gus Malzahn offense. This is not an offense that is easy to prepare for, and there are no other ones like it.
No.
So you're coming into it with a 1-game week to prepare for something that nobody else does. And that's the advantage of a triple at every level of football. When you run a unique style of offense, the defense only has 1 week to prepare for, you're just at an advantage. You'll see this when we talk on Friday night. We're gonna talk to Lou later. You'll see this on Friday nights. The team just busts out the wing tee or something. It's like, we can't prepare for this in a week.
Yeah, especially if you haven't seen a lot of it.
All of a sudden, a dippy doing and fake handoff and sallying and Cadillac. And it's like, oh, my God, we can't play this.
It's tough. It's genuinely tough. Like, in every sense of looking at a roster and saying this team is better, deeper, more athletic. Like, it's clearly Alabama, right, over Vanderbilt in that department. But from an X's and O's standpoint, Vanderbilt has an edge in a lot of games that they're going to play because, yes, they end up losing 5 games last year, or 6 games. They lost 6 games last year. But this team is better. Like, they have an explosive play element that Alabama has to account for, which makes it tougher. Like, that's the thing about Vanderbilt that has impressed me is they got better from last year. They added elements to that, an already pretty tricky offense to prepare for. They got better in that regard. Now, if you held a gun to my head and said, Elijah, this game is for your life, who's winning this game? I'm still probably going to say Alabama. Because I do believe that they at least improve when it comes to eye discipline from week 1 to now. In a month and some change, I believe they've probably gotten better at that. But there is evidence that could lead you to believe Vanderbilt will be able to do what they want to do. Because even in just a traditional ground game, Georgia doesn't do the triple option type deal.
Mike Bobo does not.
Mike
Bobo's never been accused of being the most creative coach.
He does not wade into those waters, okay, by any means. It's a very simple run game. But guess what Georgia did all over Alabama? They ran the ball. Mm-hmm. I want to say to the tune of 200-plus yards in that game. It wasn't just like it was situational running, but it looked like it was Nick Chubb and Sony Michel back there for a game. That was maybe one of Georgia's best running performances in a long time. And Georgia dominated a lot of that element of the game. They ran for 227. Yes, I wanted to get the specifics right. They ran for 227 against Alabama. Vanderbilt's run game isn't the same traditionally, but there's a lot more wrinkles. Florida State had similar wrinkles and ran with a ton of success on Alabama. That's the one thing in this game that leads me to believe the game will be a lot closer than maybe a point spread might indicate.
And the wrinkles are what accounts for the talent disparity. So there's no question that Alabama has more talented players up front and in the trenches, but when you start throwing those wrinkles at them and you start getting them guessing, not necessarily trusting themselves, that can be very difficult. And a dude back there who has the ultimate belief in himself, that's the equation.
Guess what Florida State had? A quarterback with the ultimate belief in himself.
That's a good point.
There are some similarities between Florida State and Vanderbilt that make me think, oh, I'm grossly underestimated how close this game was probably going to be when I initially looked at it on the slate, even thinking about it back in the summer.
So if Vandy wins this game, do you have to officially stamp them as a contender?
I think if they win this game, and we're fielding a college football playoff right now, they're a shoe-in.
What a sentence.
That, I can't believe I just said it, but I mean it. The resume looks really good. You beat the hell out of the teams you're supposed to beat the hell out of. You would have beaten Alabama on the road. You would have beaten South Carolina on the road. They have a lot. They have a lot more tougher games ahead of them. I'll give them that. Like, it's not going to get a ton easier for Vanderbilt if you just look at what the schedule has for them. They still got to play Missouri, but they get Missouri at home. They get LSU at home. They have to go at Texas. Auburn is, who knows what Auburn's like in November, on November 8th. Kentucky's cooked. They will beat Kentucky like a drum, and they got to go to Neyland. So it's still going to be a lot of tough games there. But if they are able to pull this one out, how can you tell that team they can't beat all of them, right? Not here to say Vanderbilt's going undefeated, but I think they're going to give Alabama a much closer game than I even anticipated. Because the closer we get to this, the more I've talked myself into them really scaring them. And that's just something that I didn't think was possible at the beginning of the season.
I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm always here for Bama losing, so I'm here for it.
And sometimes I try to find myself finding ways for Alabama to lose these type of games. But the misdirection part, like that's as I look at this and the way they run the ball, the way they put your defenders in conflict, Alabama's got so much talent on that side of the ball that it almost makes you trust them regardless of what offensive system they play against. But just the more I think about it, they can get duped. And Florida State duped them for 4 quarters. I think this is the ultimate stress test of what Alabama is defensively. Like the flip side, if Alabama beats Vanderbilt like a drum and defensively they hold Diego Pavia and that group in check, then I think you could say Kane Womack's got it figured out on that side of the ball, and Alabama is closer to what we know them to be than what they were in the first week of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But that's why I think this one's the most interesting game on the slate. Now, if Vanderbilt ends up winning this game or it's really close in the fourth quarter, the message boards for Alabama not going to be very kind.
That's so unfair. That's what I said yesterday. It's so unfair to Caleb. He won a huge game, and he's right back on the.
And he's got a really good team coming into town. But because of the V on the helmet, you're expected to beat them like a drum. The message boards might get a little crazy. But what have we seen on the message boards this week? Well, we'll tell you because Message Board Mayhem is coming up next here in the early game.
pretty good Friday morning and not really getting any word of significant slowdowns or accidents. So we appreciate that as we head into the weekend. And we're looking for a high today of 78, mostly sunny, 81 tomorrow, 82 with some afternoon showers on Sunday. But then we'll have a little bit of rain early in the week next week. And by the end of the week, rain will clear out, but it might be just a little bit cooler. And the highs in the low 70s, so a little bit different out there. 58 currently on 107.5 The Game.
Love good message board mayhem on a football Friday. And look, when coaches are fired in the middle of the season, that provides oftentimes the best fodder for these things. And I think most of us can agree that if it gets ugly in Gainesville on Saturday, Billy Napier's the next to go. It's not looking good for him. The schedule is a bear, and they've already lost one they're not supposed to against South Florida. They're looking down the barrel of an ugly season, an ugly result. But there's one message board poster that is terrified of the Texas game, not because he's afraid that his Florida Gators are going to get beaten and embarrassed, but that they might actually win.
I knew it. I knew this was the thing.
You were on to this.
I knew it.
You were on to this. This just says, this Texas game absolutely terrifies me because I think they're overrated and we have a chance to play well and possibly beat them, which means that Starkville Strick will have all the incentive he needs to keep Sling Blade for yet another undeserved week, which is all he wants to do as is.
I told you. I think this is the thing, man, because you're in a situation where nothing brings joy to a downtrodden fan base more than a firing. Because now we get to go through the searching processes. Urban Meyer coming back. And what are we going to do? This is crazy. If you win this game against maybe an overrated Arch Manning and them boys, it's a great helmet win. You beat Texas. What's Texas?
Top 10. I think they're
top 10 win. Billy's back. And then some people will walk out of that stadium. They'll be elated in the moment, but when they come down off of that high, they'll be like, we still have Billy Napier as our coach.
And you're not getting out from underneath that. Because then, really, the Ole Miss game last year, I think, might have saved Billy Napier. And that was DJ Lagway's best game. And he played very well in that game. And that might have been the thing that actually saved Billy Napier.
I'm old enough to remember where a downtrodden South Carolina team went into Athens and won in 2019. Check out the rest of that. That didn't end well.
No.
But for a moment.
You're on top of the world. I was so stunned by watching that game.
Well, you weren't the only one.
So baffled as to how that one still, in terms of one of the most baffling college football games I remember watching in the last 10 years, that's still on the list, right? Still on the list. Now, one Florida fan suggests that Florida should shut the program down. A self-imposed fan death penalty? This is on Swamp 24/7. This is by a poster who goes by The Caw, C-A-W. And this is important to know because they reference themselves in third person. This football program sucks and is a total joke. The Caw said to hire Kiffin back in 2017 and in 2021. Looks like I was right again. Now, just shut it down. Just literally shut the program down. If we do that, at least those corrupt Bull Gators can't profit off the stadium renovation. Program sucks.
Okay. That seems like a very astute assessment.
Florida basketball school.
Yeah, and that was another thing that I was thinking about also because I talk about the neighbors. You look around, basketball, doing well.
National champions.
Baseball, in the game. It's not great when Billy goes to the coaching meetings. He has to walk in, and he's the one pulling up the rear for everybody else. Tough spot.
Kevin O'Sullivan has a national championship on the resume. Todd Golden has a national championship on the resume. They're looking at Billy Napier like, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Can't even get to Atlanta. They haven't been to Atlanta in a hot minute. 2020, I believe, was the last time they went to an SEC title game. Now, to one of, I guess, my favorite message board topics. Favorite because it's absurd. And again, and I tweeted this earlier in the week when Brett Favre said that Arkansas needs to seriously hire John Gruden. I tweeted that we have to stop as a society volunteering John Gruden for every coach opening. His last stint with the Raiders was bad. Yes, we know what he was fired for, but also he wasn't winning. He hasn't been a winning coach since I was in early elementary school. Nothing about what John Gruden has done in the last 20 years suggests he would be a good college football coach. Nothing. Great mascot for the sport, but
Yes.
nothing says this guy would be a winning solution for your program. But you can't tell that to someone on Hogbeat because apparently there's smoke on Gruden. Yes, the website, hogbeat.com, Arkansas message board that reads, smoke on Gruden. I have a buddy that works for another athletic department.
Great source.
There is some serious smoke that Gruden could be hired sooner rather than later. He was talking like maybe this week. I am not sure I believe that, and this is scuttlebutt from another university, but rumors like this often have teeth.
They often, but often they don't. And
Especially with John Gruden.
What's interesting about this is the groomers always come around, and as you've stated, you know what he was fired for at the Raiders, but it wasn't going to be long.
No.
Because if I'm looking at this, before he resigned after 5 games, he was 3-2. The year before that, 8-8. The year before that, 7-9. The year before that, 4-12. He is cooked. Very similar to Belichick as a coach. It's like, hey man, maybe, and even less of a claim for Gruden as far as was he ever great. I'd say he was a good coach.
Yes.
Never great, consistently.
Bad coaches don't win Super Bowls.
Right.
He won a Super Bowl.
So he
with
was
an
a
all-time
good
great
coach.
defense. Yeah.
But for the past, his recent resume does not lend all the excitement. And again, he's coming into a game in which he has no idea of how this is going to work. Yes, he's been traveling around. He's seen all the stadiums. And I think that's what serves the game the best. I like mascot Gruden better than any other version of Gruden.
Mascot and analyst Gruden.
I don't even like analyst Gruden. I want mascot Gruden. Just go around. Every program is the best. I love this place.
Pumping everybody up.
Everybody gets pumped up. We get to see Gruden. He does his little, well, let me tell you about why I took Spider Banana. And it's awesome.
I tell you what, man, this play works every time, man.
It's great. But don't do that. Don't. Oh, you know what, Arkansas? Do it. Please. Please do it. And just count yourself to the bottom of the pile.
If they hire John Gruden, do they keep Bobby Petrino as the OC? Just in case. Just in case. Do you keep that guy around?
Oh, man. I don't know.
That's something I've even thought about now. Do you just keep Bobby Petrino around in general, or when you hire the new coach, do you just kind of say bye to Bobby?
I don't think Bobby's leaving. I'm not leaving. Bobby's like a tree hugger. He's going to hug the desk. I'm not going.
He's doing the Leonardo DiCaprio thing in Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not leaving. And probably in that office, there are probably as many expletives spouted off.
Akin in character to the
yes.
character.
Very much so. He might just rip the speech word for word.
I'd be just as interested in a Bobby Petrino biopic. It would be just as interesting as The Wolf of Wall Street.
It would be.
The Wolf of Ball Street.
Now we're talking. Now we're on to something here. Many layers to this. You have the scandal at Arkansas, leaving a note for your players when you left the Atlanta Falcons. Getting to coach Lamar Jackson, that was fun.
It'd be interesting to say the least.
It would be very interesting.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure I be very clear on that. Gruden was not good at his last even before that when he was at Tampa, because there was a reason why he wasn't at Tampa anymore. He was 9-7, 9-7, and 4-12.
Jeff Fisher type beat.
So,
And no one wants to volunteer Jeff Fisher for these jobs. Poor Jeff. What is he, chopped liver around here? Brutal. That was Message Board Mayhem. Coming up next, the message boards say this guy's the best high school sports reporter in South Carolina. I think we believe him. It's our man Lou Bajak going to give us the lowdown on everything going down in the state of South Carolina in the world of high school football. That's sponsored by Paymore, and that is next. You know, the message boards aren't saying this, but I'm saying it. I'm your personal message board for this one, and that's that Mid-State Roofing is who you need to call if you have a leak. Of course, I say at the end of every one of these reads here, right? If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek, and you should do so because they have a long, proven history of ensuring that your home or business is secured. The roof is a vitally important part of keeping your building dry, safe, and operating long into the future. It doesn't matter if they're high-rise, hospitals, manufacturing to industrial. Mid-State Roofing has been designing and installing bonded systems with a protective guarantee to keep that place running long into the future and keeping it dry, right? That is why for many years here in the Midlands, if you have a leak, Mid-State Roofing takes a peek and gets it done. 803-356-1919 or always online at midstateroofing.com.
No accidents to report. It's been a fabulous Friday morning in that respect. Mostly sunny, 78 today, 81 tomorrow, 82 on Sunday. Might actually see a little bit of a rain shower or two on Sunday afternoon. But right now, it's not too bad. A little bit cooler than we've had in other mornings. It's 58 on 107.5 The Game.
It's time to bring in our man, Lou Bajak, in our high school sports segment, brought to you by Pay More. Need fast cash? I know I do. Pay More is Columbia's go-to spot for fast cash on your tech. Visit them in Harbison and Sand Hills. We're going to visit Lou Bajak right now from the state because we have another exciting Friday night of high school football action, a couple of really big games on the docket here locally. And I want to start off, Lou, with this one right here. South Point at Camden. Now, Camden had a really good bounce-back game on Friday night. South Point has the best player in the state in Jazavian Currents. Something has to give. How do you see this bad boy going down?
Yeah, and I think last year was 54-0, 64-0. I think it'll definitely be a lot closer this time around. And South Point's had a week off, though, after their win over Flora. And we'll see. They win tonight. They basically take control of the region. And then Camden and Flora, I think, will be battling out for second. So it's going to be big. See if they can slow down that offense and the Camden and how Camden's offense attacks that South Point defense. And penalties also can be a factor. We saw South Point had over 20 penalties against Flora and still won. So it should be a good ball game. To see Camden, they got one of the more underrated players in the state in Tyrone. Tylen Drakeford, and he's a Shrine Bowler. They like to get him the ball in space and out of the backfield receiver. He also plays defensive back. So it should be a pretty good one tonight at Zem.
Just a remarkable sentence, and it also tells you just how talented certain teams are. Is if you can turn the ball over, if you can get flagged for 20 penalties and get away with it against a good team, you're pretty solid, right? You work with a pretty significant margin for error, right there. Yeah. Preston, have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've coached against South Point before. I'm not saying it's par for the course, but that's kind of how they do it. It's kind of who they are. And they just beat the tar out of you after that.
They do. They're pretty good at the tar beating type deal. One that I'm really intrigued in on a lower classification, Strom Thurmond at Batesburg-Leesville. Mm-hmm. I got a list of guys every year, Lou, that are my guys in high school football. That they've proven it to me, right? And if they're playing, I'm intrigued. Amadre Wooden for Batesburg-Leesville, one of my guys. How do you see this one going down in terms of how Batesburg-Leesville's looked?
Yeah, it was a close one last year, and they need to. Batesburg, Amadre Wooden, obviously great running back. He's actually, if things work right, they make a deep playoff run, he could become the school's all-time leading rusher, passing Terrence Wilson, who said it a few years ago. I think he's just under 1,000 yards shy, and they got some games that he could pile some yards on coming up the rest of the season. He's definitely one of the better backs in the state. Kind of surprising. I know that their coach, Batesburg coaching staff, was a little surprised he didn't make one of the All-Star games. It's still, you never know with injuries and that, he might be able to get in there. But between him and Katie Witt, I think Katie Witt also a guy who can make plays as a receiver out of the backfield, special teams, returning kicks and punts, and on defense as well. So it should be a good game. Two great programs, historically good programs, and always going to be a fun one tonight.
One that I've got my eye on, too, here in the Midlands, because I love the coaching matchup. Love both of these guys. I think they're both really good coaches. Perry Parks in his first year at River Bluff has a region opener against White Knoll. And any Nick Pelham coach defense is the real deal, right? One of the best defensive coaches in the state with a long history of producing some lights-out defenses. How do you see that one going down? What's maybe one of the biggest challenges for River Bluff having to go on the road and play against this Nick Pelham coach defense?
Yeah, try to establish the run. Hayden Myers, also a really talented running back. I think he's over 700 yards on the year. They got to be able to try to run the ball and get Braden Moore in some manageable situations. They got a playmaker too, Darius Carter at receiver, so get him the ball. But that defense, Caleb Geronimi and the rest of the guys, I know they lost Tyrone Jennings. He transferred, but I mean they're pretty solid. And both teams coming off, or White Knoll won last week. River Bluff coming off a bye. Now it gets down to region play, and we know about this region. And I think White Knoll gets River Bluff tonight, and then they go back to back. Dutch Fork and Irmo the next 2 weeks, so they need this one tonight, and it should be a good one. Coach Parks get his region opener on the road tonight.
One game I'm really intrigued with too. It's one that, reading in your story, Blythewood leading the all-time series 9-1 against Lugoff Elgin. It's a good sign of dominance in a series, right? It's very lopsided. But I watch Lugoff Elgin. I love watching that offense because they can be explosive. Saw what they did against Lower Richland to start the season, and I was blown away with the passing ability of Lugoff Elgin. What do you like about their chances tonight at Blythewood in a series where they have really struggled to win games?
Yeah, that offense. I mentioned Williams at the quarterback position, and you got Shamil Sadiq, receiver, touchdown energy selection, and E.J. Richardson. He's kind of a do-it-all. He runs the ball, he receives, and Murphy on defense, and they got some other guys that can play. It's just a matter of can they stop. I mean, they put 40-plus on Sumter last week, which is pretty impressive, but you give up 57. Blythewood doesn't have that kind of firepower on offense like Sumter, so I think they like to run the ball. They got James Veazey, who's gotten better as the season has gone along, and Landon Strong at running, and it's just it's going to be a test for Blythewood's defense, and we'll see if they're going to be able to shut down that Lugoff offense. They like to throw it. They short passing game, deep passing game, so it should be a fun one tonight at Blythewood.
And there's a new number one in Class 5A. Usually when we talk about class rankings and going into each week, we can almost pencil in Dutch Fork being number one in 5A. That's kind of their thing. But after Dutch Fork took an L, Irmo at 5-0 gets to move into that spot. Quarterback Dre Dobson is an incredible story. We had him here in studio last Friday when they were in their bye week, telling about how he has had a long road to recovery from a condition that has kept him away from football. He's the starter at Irmo right now, undefeated, putting up really good numbers. They're at Lexington tonight. It's going to be a tough road to toe for Lexington, but Irmo is the number one team in 5A. What do you like about the Yellow Jackets and that sustainability, despite playing in a really tough region, to be able to make another deep run in the playoffs this year?
I like their fronts on both offensive line and defensive line. They're massive. They're pretty big. They got two Division I prospects in Moore and Carson up front on the offensive line, and then you throw in Jaden Bryan, who's got a ton of offers, and Major Taylor on defense, and some other guys as well. And you throw in Dobson. He has a great story. He missed some time last year with BC with the bag and that he had to wear and that it's great to see him play because obviously that was one of their biggest question marks coming in, who's going to replace AJ Brand, and he's done well. And then you got Miller, Malik Miller and his brother. They can make some plays. They had about 4 or 5 receivers that are home run hitters anytime they touch the ball, and throw in Amir White, and they got a good kicking game. They definitely are solid, and they are legit. And what they've done the last 3 or 4 years to build this program back up, it started a few years before that, but now they got it rolling, and see if they could finish it off, get back to the state championship like they did last year. Obviously the big one coming up with Dutch Fork at the end of the year, but you got White Knoll, and then you got tonight Lexington. It's gonna be a tough one for the Wildcats. They got a freshman quarterback in Easton Crocker going up against that defense, so they're going to have their hands full, and we'll see how they try to slow down that Irmo attack.
I think Coach Brand has built a football program, not just a couple good teams. I think he's got himself a capital P program over there right now. That's Lou Bejak at Lou at the State. Lou, appreciate you as always. Good sir. I'll see you around. Talk to you tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Lou.
Good stuff there from Lou Bajak. He's a winner, and he's sponsored by Paymore. Need fast cash? Paymore is Columbia's go-to spot for fast cash on your tech. Visit them in Harbison and Sand Hills. We're going to visit our winners for today's show coming up next. Oh, and we have winners. We got winners for you, Mike. And I think my winner for this weekend, vengeance.
Okay.
Alabama is looking for it. I think the biggest game of the weekend, Alabama and Vanderbilt. And look, vengeance will not come easy. Vengeance will have to be earned. And the storylines in this game are so juicy because as much as I think most people, 99% maybe, coming into the season thought, okay, that's an Alabama win. They're not letting that happen again. Vanderbilt just does some things on offense that I think give Alabama's defense trouble. They had trouble stopping the run against Georgia, gave up 200-plus yards. Trouble stopping the run against Florida State, 200-plus yards. In an offense with Gus Malzahn that does slightly mirror Vanderbilt's, the closest thing to Vanderbilt's offense that Alabama will see this year. And it gave them fits, controlled the clock, controlled the game. A lot of misdirection and bad eye discipline for the Bama defense resulted in that upset. If they have not improved in that category right there, history may repeat itself, Preston Thorne.
Okay, vengeance. I like it. Well, I'll stay with you. I'm gonna go with what we dubbed as anxiety. Ooh. Because 12 o'clock Saturday, Chapel Bill. This could be the one that gets them up out of here. Because if Clemson does what they're supposed to do and they run them off the table, it could be embarrassing. Mm-hmm. The folks at Chapel Hill may actually see that the Emperor has no clothes on or that the Emperor has a very short skirt on.
I was going to say, are we going to see Jordan, hitting on Dabo at some point? I don't know.
The Emperor has a short skirt and high boots.
Hey, if Clemson beats him bad enough, she might end up wearing orange and standing over there on that sideline.
I like it because you don't want to be associated with losers, and that's what Bill Belichick will be for his college career. So I can't ever say that I'm cheering for them, but I would like to see that more so than the other alternative, which also could be fun. And that's why this is the Anxiety Bowl, 12 o'clock.
It's a fun result either way. It's another game. In a similar vein to Alabama Vanderbilt, the narratives are too good, right? The storyline is too good to get to ignore. I spoiled it. Winner I have for today. Helmet games. Florida State, Miami. Great helmet game. Great rivalry. Florida State losing maybe takes a little bit of the luster off that game, a little bit of the shine. But it's at Florida State. Florida State's still frisky. Mario Cristobal needs this win because he's got a team that is a lot better than I thought they would be coming into the season. I thought there were some tests they might fail early on. They've proven me wrong. Reuben Bain is on track to be one of the top 2 or 3 picks in the NFL draft. This is a really good showcase game for Miami to do this on the road, especially in a rivalry that used to have, if we were going to compare it to TV shows, much better seasons than the last few that have been released, right? It's have a hard time getting both of them to be good at the same time. It's a rivalry now where both teams seem to be good at the same time. That'll be a winner of a game.
That would be a winner of a game. I'm gonna stick with that and give my winner for playoff baseball. Playoff baseball. This Saturday, you're going to get a chance to see Shohei Ohtani pitch.
His first career
postseason start against Bryce Harper and them boys. And as I've said many times on here, I am just always fascinated by phenoms who have had all the pressure in the world in their athletic lives, and they deliver.
Yes.
That is amazing to me. Bryce Harper, we've been hearing about Bryce Harper since he was 14 years old, and he actually ended up being that person. Same thing with Shohei. He's going to be better than Babe Ruth, and he is. How does that happen? That is always fascinating to me. That's something I will definitely be watching this weekend.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Winner, Jen Jensen, because her Chicago Cubs got it done last night. And speaking of playoff baseball, I like their chances against the Brewers.
I do too. They struggled with them a little bit later in the season, but, I'm hopeful. I'm still very hopeful.
Because the Brewers got red hot. And it started with that series against the Cubs. And they seemingly didn't lose after that.
No.
In the same series, I didn't mention this earlier. If you were looking for a team to cheer for, we talked about the Brewers being thrifty, frugal, if one might say. Also narrative, Bob Uecker passed away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's
that
true.
Might be something. That might be something working against you. It might be something working against you. You're gonna have to watch out for that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Gonna have to watch out for that.
And I think the team that I might be bandwagoning, because I've just talked myself into it during our playoff primer, the Seattle Mariners.
Like it.
The big dumper, the big vibes, the never having done it before. I think I might be hopping onto the Seattle bandwagon. I think I've talked myself into that one. That's all for this week. Coming up next week, it's another game week, LSU week. Can't wait to dive into the matchup. Have a great football weekend. Tyler Head, and Extra Points next.